All right. Kanzu Banking is a financial solution for people who are looking to grow their finances. And that sounds repetitive, but it's all about money for starters. If I was explaining it to a younger person, I would say, imagine you have a desire to buy a car and it's way too much money. You can't afford to buy the car. So you get together with all the people in your class and say, we'll all put together maybe 20,000, maybe 50, which you can get from your parents, and pull that together, and now you have a car. But of course, because all of you put the money together, the car doesn't belong to one person. So now you have to find a way to use the car, and let's say you decided to use it for Uber, and it's going to make money on the weekends or something like that, and you're all supposed to receive something from that. So how do you determine who gets what? Maybe one of you was from a rich family and put in half the money, So Kanzu Banking is a platform that allows you to register all the members of your class. Say, we're all trying to save towards this thing. This is how much money we have pulled together. And now that we're making returns from the Uber that we have paid for, this is how we're going to split it. And if you chose to leave the venture, you would get back the money that you put in. So ventures like that are usually called investment clubs or SACCOs or things like that. And that's what Kanzu Banking enables you to do. It's a platform to manage the activities around that, so that you don't need to have someone noting things down in an exercise book to say, so and so has paid this much, so and so has paid that much, this is how much we're splitting. That all happens automatically for you, just like you make a post on Facebook and other people will see it, and it just happens magically. That's what Kanzu Banking is supposed to be. The key aspects of Kanzu Banking are, first and foremost, ease of use. It's supposed to feel like I don't have to put a lot of work or thought into this. So there's loads of difficult aspects to running the sort of venture I just described. There's accounting rules, there's keeping track of the money, there's calculating how much interest, how much penalties, things like that, which are difficult to do by hand. And the goal of the software is to make this really easy. So you don't have to think about it, you don't have to calculate, you can bring in a professional, they'll still say this is a really good job at accounting, even though you have never touched accounting in your life. The other key aspect is accessibility. We want the platform to be accessible to anyone in Uganda. Be it someone in town who has internet and access to all the technology that's available to us now, or somebody in the village who has at most just a phone that's a cartouche that can make a call. All those people should be able to use the platform, and it should be just as easy to use regardless of what level of technology they are and where they are. Those are the two key aspects of Kanzu Banking. So broadly speaking, the people we are trying to serve are Ugandans, just like me, who are trying to improve their financial situation. As we all know, it's difficult to get out of poverty situation that you're in without making more money. Usually the first step to making more money is saving, and then you also want your savings to grow for you, but loads of ventures that you would want to undertake are expensive. An example of investments that you will commonly hear is a good thing to invest in is real estate. But it costs many millions to buy land, build a house, before you can get tenants and start reaping that passive income that everyone wants to have. So a common solution to this lack of investment capital, which is what you're looking for, is to come together with other people just like you who don't have investment capital by themselves, but you have a bit of money you can put aside. Now, when you pull together that little money from very many people, you find that you actually have enough money to start out a venture. So while it would be difficult for me to get 100 million together tomorrow, if there are 100 of me and we only need to put up 1 million, that gets us along quickly and we can invest, get some returns. And that's the kind of person we're trying to serve. That person who is trying to grow their finances, but they need to get together with other people. And a key example of people like that are upcountry in the village, where they really feel their poverty and they're trying to improve their situation, but they can't really wait and say, let's wait for the government to help us. They get together, they do rounds of collecting money for this person, that person, that person, and after you have collected that small amount of money from many people, you can do something with it. It's the same concept as cooperative societies for farmers and things like that. So those really are our key customers, the people we're trying to reach. So that cuts across from the young corporate working in an office, making some money that you want to invest, but it's not enough to make that big investment, to the lower income earner far away in the village. You're all the target customer, somebody who needs to get together with other people to grow their finances. That's who we are trying to target. And what struck a chord with us with that is primarily the fact that as Ugandans, we have seen poverty in some way or the other. If it's not in your own life, it's with a relative that you've visited upcountry. And we always want these people to have a hand in getting themselves out of their situation. But they have difficulties they face. If they say went to a bank to withdraw money to get a loan, they would need security that they don't have. And the coming together to solve their problem is really the best way for them to get these resources quickly and move out of where they're at. You have a situation where people have the will to do something, come together, they are already doing this actually, both upcountry and in town. There are loads of SACCOs and investment clubs, but they're facing a difficulty in managing what they're doing, because you have loads of people coming together, but they have to manually manage the finances, who has what is due, where have we invested. So that's what struck a chord with us as people who have built our careers in working with computers. Computers solve these problems very easily. And that's why we came up with Kanzu Banking, because we wanted to make it easy for these people to do what they're trying to do. Going back to the key aspects of Kanzu Banking, because we centered around those, particularly to solve problems. The person who is upcountry tends to be left out of solutions designed for the person in town because they don't have the same technology. So whereas in town we use social media, for example, very often, and people can do advertising and marketing on it, that doesn't reach the person in the village because they just don't use the internet that way. So that's one of the things we're trying to solve for, that the person upcountry or out of town should be able to actually still use this and not be left out. And the other thing is, because we know that it is difficult to run these things and it's time consuming, even for someone in town, and if you have to chase people to get the payments for this, or you have to meet physically to say, okay, here is my installment for this month or something like that, it becomes difficult. You have to tie together two schedules, you and the admin. The admin has to be very busy. So now you have to pay someone to be the administrator because you're asking them to do a lot. So we're solving that problem you have by making it so that it's a no-brainer to run this. All the activities happen automatically. The person can make their payments with mobile money or some electronic payments, whether they're upcountry, here in town. it gets added to the accounts. Everything happens in the background there, and the administrator is really only concerned with events like approving a loan, or we're making an investment, so it's where you actually need a human being to do these things. So we're making it simple as possible, and even the additional cost you'd have for someone to run the organization is not there. It vanishes because the things manage themselves. There are two key differences. First off, the other financial solutions on the market, a good number are designed not specifically for Uganda, so they don't have a heavy focus on mobile payments. But being a homegrown solution, we know that mobile money has a broader reach than banks or cards or things like that. So we design from the get-go to tailor to that market, to the fact that almost everyone who has a phone has mobile money and can transact this way. First and foremost, first-class citizen. And then we also know that in addition to reaching the person in town, and we designed for that as well, like you have mobile applications, you have web, you also have to reach the person who doesn't have access to these things. So every feature we design, we also have to figure in a USSD way to do exactly this, so that everyone, regardless of, as long as you have the minimum level of technology, you should be able to use the system just as much as somebody who has access to a broader range of options.